So we do
I have to
one
ask.
question.
You know what the GOAT's number was? 23. And the thing about this podcast, REI Baddies, they also have 23 episodes in their first year. That tells you they are the GOAT of podcasting right now. They're filling the space between OGs in the business and brand newbies. They are absolutely killing it. And also, we need way more women investors that are doing podcasts. Why? Because right now, there's proof, scientific numbers that are telling us that more women are entering into the business of real estate investing and developing than ever before. Here's the thing. You got to go check out their podcast every Monday morning at 6 a.m. These guys are such baddies, that they drop an episode early in the morning because only early birds catch that worm.
Welcome back to REI Baddies, the talk show where real estate gets real. I'm your co-host, Rachel Davis.
And I'm Kate Baldwin.
And today we are interviewing a man whose DNA is interwoven throughout all of creative finance, affordable housing, and co-living within this community. You can't Google anything without seeing Jamil Damji's name associated with it.
And someone who happens to be spending his birthday with us. So thank you so much for that.
Of course.
Right here in Charlotte, the one and only Jamil.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Of
Welcome.
course.
I'm honored to be on your guys' show. This is great.
I'm so excited to have you here. We both are. You've been a mentor to us for quite some
Yes.
time.
Oh, well, I appreciate
really
that.
awesome.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of like a little bit of a starstrike kind of moment. It's like everything we it's really an interesting situation we're in. I'm from Key West. We just met for the first time. We're meeting in these amazing studios, but it's all because of you and Pace in this community. So thank you for everything you do for us. So.
And, for folks that are watching, you're now what, a quarter of the way through the Creative Nation tour?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're on city 31, I believe.
Oh my
so 31%.
Oh
we're 31% through. Honestly, it is going by too fast. We're having a lot of fun. We've seen some really interesting parts of the country, different dynamics in the communities, different people. It is wild how different the different regions are and the corresponding community members, as well as just like the people in the REI community who aren't yet in the community but are like adjacent and interested in and hearing about it, but haven't quite taken the leap. They're still wondering if this is a cult or not, and so they're
In all fairness, we do talk about that in our show quite often.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying to tell our family, my family in particular, like what they're doing, like, what are you doing, Kate? So I'm like, it's not a cult. Pace is not a cult.
Yes.
Because it kind of feels like it at the beginning.
Well, I think the fun part about it is that when you get passionate about something,
Yes.
it's hard for people to understand where that passion's coming from because it's not normal in everyday life, right? We don't get passionate about our careers most of the time because none of us, for the most part, are in a career that we
Are happy
about. We go in, we clock out. It's how we pay our bills, but it's not how we identify ourselves. It's not the thing that we want to wake up and do every day. It's not something that we would do without getting paid sometimes.
Right.
And so I think as a result, the enthusiasm and energy that you bring to your investing is strange to people.
Well, and I also feel like our community is so giving and so constantly like trying to help the next person.
Right.
And you don't see that in a workplace at all.
Well, it's counterintuitive to survival, right? And that's what a lot of people are living in.
Right. And I think that's, going off of why
It's actually a great segment to our first question for you, Jamil. Again, you've experienced this. I know you recently sold Keegley, but wholesaling houses, you have seen the dynamic of Charlotte and how this city has just completely exploded. However, the affordability piece hasn't necessarily kept on top with that.
Right.
And co-living is this phenomenal resource for investors to use to help get at that issue. I guess my first question for you would be, if you were put into a market like Charlotte, what would you do in that first 90 days to solve that problem?
Well, I think what Charlotte has done a really good job of, and it was the first time I had heard of this universal zoning that you can have in communities where you no longer need specific multifamily zoning to put in multiple ADUs or to build fourplexes or
awesome.
even higher density property. This is something that you uniquely did here early. And I think that paved a way for affordability to become a part of the infrastructure of how Charlotte grows.
Right.
I am really grateful that there are governments, that there are policymakers that think that way, because the reality is if you leave it to the layperson in the community, a lot of people look at, and especially when you have it, right? When you already own a home, when you're already in a spot, it's very difficult to look at others who don't and say, well, I want you to be included as well.
I know.
What most people do is say, well, now that I've got mine, F you and F yours.
Right.
And so I don't want more density in my neighborhood. I don't want a fourplex next door. I don't want this.
Right.
I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want that, because it's going to degrade my property value. It's going to have more people living in a home. That means there's
Right.
going to be more cars. There's going to be more
Traffic.
traffic. It's going to take me 3 extra minutes to get to work every day. And that isn't what you guys voted for. You guys as a community decided that we want greater density. We want to have more inclusivity. We want to have communities that have fourplexes next to a single family home. And that to me is really cool. And we just actually passed a bill in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're adopting the same type of zoning. And
That's
so
awesome.
Oh, wow.
January 1st, it's the same. I know.
In Arizona?
In Arizona.
Wow.
And that is writing on the wall, I think. When you have states which are predominantly red, like Arizona, that are following suit with other states that might be predominantly blue, and they're doing it in a way that's not political. It's not partisan. It's human.
Human. I love, and I segment on this. I love that interview you did with the gentleman that I was talking. Rachel and I were speaking about, the guy that does the prisons, and how he spoke about the politicians these days, and how he spoke about, what's happening in our government, how co-living can exist, and it's going to be very important to. And I want to hear your opinion on this about kind of pairing up with nonprofits within your community.
So
I
the reason why I have to be transparent, right? Like I didn't set out and be like, I'm going to be this nonprofit segue, leader that like is going to pave the path. It was by necessity, honestly.
Sure.
The reality of what happened is we were building co-living homes in Arizona. We were relying on a specific platform. I'm not going to name names.
Sure.
And the platform changed their incentivization policies. And what ended up happening is we started seeing that we were having a lot of turnover, and vacancy. And we're like, you know what? The number of people that are actually living in our co-living versus the advertised occupancy isn't matching up. So why is that? And we come to find out that the platform was more interested in its revenue because, for whatever reason, they have some other business initiatives that they're going after, right?
Sure.
I'm not here to exactly. I'm not here to comment or agree or disagree with it.
You guys just had different expectations.
Absolutely. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for all of the people in the world of co-living that have provided platforms for people to be able to get into this world and space. And so grateful for all of them. However, we needed to fix it. We needed to fix this situation because the math wasn't mathing for us any longer. And
Right.
so enter my sister, who is a unicorn in and of itself. She went off and started banging on doors of these nonprofits and brought home stories of these people that need housing and these
awesome.
nonprofits that need housing and that are given. They have big budgets for it. They just don't have access to the housing. Yeah. They didn't know we existed, and they had this big pile of money ready to give it to us. And
That's
so
awesome.
we
I love
just
that.
connected the dots.
I love that so
Yeah.
much. Well, we're
I'm-
hoping to do that here.
I was about to say, I worked at a nonprofit here in Charlotte, and our number one most requested service was affordable housing.
Yes.
And again, like, people aren't building houses, right? Like for nonprofits. So
Right.
being able to work with a nonprofit in that capacity is one that I'm starting to talk about with nonprofits and government entities that are here local to the community. So
I want to point out to anyone listening to this that sometimes when in the investor world hears the word nonprofit, it's like nails on a chalkboard, right? Because you're like, I'm not investing for nonprofit. I'm not doing this for no profit. But I wanna say something.
Nonprofits have money.
We make a lot of profit with our nonprofits.
Yeah,
It's a pretty incredible
Come on,
model.
who runs most of the nonprofits?
It's
The 1%. So I mean, the
It
people
is-
with the money raise that money.
Well,
so.
even so, right?
And
The
government.
nonprofits have their own model and whatnot. They still need money to survive, and they have to be profitable in order to keep their doors open and to be more available and have services available for their people.
100%.
On the other hand, they don't mind us making money. They want us to
We
be
make them look- I
incentivized
mean,
so
they-
that
we look-
we
yeah.
can do more.
And we make them look good in a little ways too, because we make each other look good.
Absolutely.
When we come together and we do like that partnership with them.
You brought up another thing that leads to another question I'd like to parlay into, and that's this concept of collaboration and working for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And in investing, it's very often seen you're either working for money or you're working to help people. You, however, have been able to bridge that gap. Can you just kind of talk about how you would do things differently if you could redo it? Like, would you do something faster? I'm just curious.
Well, I think that it's a myth, right? That making money isn't doing good. I think that people's ideas around money and how money is made and why it's made and its ethics around making money, it's a completely backward philosophy that I think we have in our culture, that, don't talk about money. It's impolite. It's not a good thing to make money. When we have friends in a business, we think, oh, you shouldn't charge me. You're my friend. You're family.
No.
I shouldn't have to pay for this service.
I get it.
Why? If you're my friend and if you're my family, I should pay you double.
Yeah.
I
Listen.
shouldn't be asking you for a discount. That is ridiculous to me.
Well, I grew up in Key West, so it's a very small town. It's a 2x4 island. I still live there. And I always pay for my services because it's not fair. Even though we're a small town, everyone knows everyone. If everyone asked for everyone for a favor, then we wouldn't get anywhere.
Well, it's all an energetic exchange in a way,
Yeah.
right? And so I give to you, you give to me, we exchange value. And in this society and world, we do that with money, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's fair. But back to your point, with respect to collaboration and doing good and making money at the same time, they don't have to be in opposition to each other. In fact, what I would propose is that we stop pretending like that's what it is. We have completely made the idea that they are in opposition. But look, I have seen so many people do so much good in the world and get wildly successful as a result. Okay. And if you look at some of the biggest companies that have provided the infrastructure for the internet and provided infrastructure for social media so that we can connect, they've become wildly profitable. At the same time, if you use it for good purposes, good things come of it. There's a polarity in that.
Yeah.
How you treat making money is what's important.
Yes.
I believe that making money is a good thing, and it serves all of the people that are involved in the transaction. And because of that, because that's my philosophy, because that's the attitude and the energy I bring to a situation, what ends up happening is everybody wins.
I love that.
Well, yeah, and it's also like I always pray to God. I say, God, please give me the opportunity to make the money off my gifts so that I can give to others. It's just,
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely a cool thing. I know God gave us both so many gifts, and I'm so excited that we get to use that. So, we do this normally on a weekly basis, right? I don't know if you know a little bit about our show. So we do this apart from each other. So we're always in
virtual.
Yeah.
Your own,
So we've got 3 screens. So it's like, this is the first time we've met over this week. And then this is obviously like our first real sit down is like you.
This is great.
Isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
Look at this setup. Look who we have. Look who we have here. You got your fiance. And
I've got a question for you.
yeah.
So it's your birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
And a birthday is a day that people generally get reflective.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about the Everest. But for what you're doing and the frequency, knowledge and expertise that you bring out and put to the community, I want to know, what is 30 years from now? What is the legacy of Jamil Damji?
You know, I can't say yet.
Okay.
I know it's going to be great. What I have learned over the last 10 years, let's just call it, is that life is unpredictable and beautiful and also full of ups and downs. Mm-hmm. Everything, however, is for the benefit of all if you can look at it from like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 feet. And so what I pray for is that what I do leave behind here made a difference. That's it. It doesn't have to be something that immortalizes my name. It doesn't have to be buildings. It doesn't have to be my name on stuff. It doesn't have to be any of that.
Sure.
If I was able to help spark a few minds to think differently, to move differently in the world, to love differently, more authentically, and with greater energy and enthusiasm, then I did my job. And that legacy for me is going to carry on. And I think that is something I'd be way more proud of than a bunch of buildings with my name on it.
I love that.
I have actually one question. So I've done quite a bit of, we both have watched quite a few shows or videos of yours. The recent one that I really enjoyed watching was the one where you really got personal. And there's a lot of people out there right now that's in our community that just got started, or they're just not in a good place in their life. And, you know, we all have had bad places. And I was so inspired by you, just your openness and your willingness to just be like open about it. If there's anyone out there struggling right now that just kind of is in or out of our community that really thinks that they're not capable of being a part of something, being someone like you, or what would you say to them right now?
Well, everything that's incredible in my life came from a hard situation and came from a trauma or a trouble.
Yep.
Everything good.
I know.
I have nothing in my life right now that I value that I earned easily.
Sure.
It all required effort. It required attention. It required inner work and honesty.
Yeah.
So if you're in a bad spot right now, be grateful, because that means that you're exactly where you're supposed to be to have the best fucking life you could have. You
right.
just have to do it.
So like someone that's like in this community, just did all the training, someone that's like ready to go to work, what are a few things that like you would suggest that they do right now? Like what would you suggest they start doing?
I would hope one would be come to the Creative Nation tour.
Yeah. Find a Creative
100%.
Nation tour
I think leaning in on the community and really finding your tribe is important. Yeah. You know, you two obviously just met physically and then,
Yes.
you know, in the last week, yet you've already made a big impact with each other virtually, and
Sure.
you've done incredible things. Well, look at the reality of this, right? The show that you guys are creating and that you're putting out there is content that folks are going to be learning from. I know that you've been doing trainings that are really valuable and helpful to the community. All of this is a product of your heart and your desire to be helpful and generous. And if people out there right now that are just getting started are maybe a little bit weirded out by the generosity of the people in this community, or overwhelmed.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, you could be overwhelmed by the options that are available. And if that's the case, then seek inside of your heart to find something that really jazzes you up,
Yes.
right? There's so many things that you can do.
Yes.
You can get into multifamily, you can get into RV parks, you can get into single family, you can get into co-living, you can get into fixing and flipping, you can get into buying single family rentals. There's an abundance of options.
Yes.
They're not for everybody.
It's true.
So find what really excites you. Think about it in the terms of what would I do, or what asset class or what type of investing model or what kind of thing or activity could I do in this business that I would wake up and do regardless of being paid? Because getting money is a byproduct of having a good time.
Yes.
And really, really bringing that level of energy to the task that you're doing. If you want staying power in this, because that's, I think, the one thing that I've seen as a educator in this business as well, I've trained thousands of people, right? I've watched thousands of people come and go. I've watched thousands of people come in, make $100,000 on a few deals and fizzle away and go back to their W-2 job.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That's crazy.
That's
right?
insane.
You've got proof of concept.
Proof
and you
of concept. You have it all at your fingertips.
Fear?
And no, it's just they were doing something that really didn't excite them.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, they were like, I don't want to make cold calls every day. I don't want to do this every day. This is not how I envisioned this working out for me. This is boring. This is hard. This is too much, overwhelming. And so they're like, you know what wasn't? My 9 to 5. And so they go back. And that's because they didn't follow their joy. So find something that makes you happy. Find something that you would do regardless of the pay. Then you'll stay at this. You'll do this every single day, and you'll love going to work. It won't even feel like work to you anymore.
Yeah,
You're just
I
getting
think-
paid to have a good time.
Absolutely.
I'd like to kind of build on that a little bit because I love that concept, and knowing thyself is probably the most important thing as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I think as a human,
True. I
Yes.
think one thing for me that was really helpful, Jamil, is when I was in the military, had to take a lot of personality tests, everything from Clifton Strengths to DISC, whatever. And when I first got to the community, I actually was thankful my husband created a prompt. And I was able to put all of my personality tests along with all of the avatars and figure out where I was supposed to be. And I think for some people, if you don't really know yourself, that is such an incredibly powerful thing to invest in.
Yeah.
So just taking those tests, knowing yourself, and if you're there with AI, going ahead and implementing it in.
That AI, man.
but what's even simpler than a whole bunch of tests is just get quiet.
Thank you.
Just get quiet
I'm
and
not good
ask
at
yourself, like, what do I enjoy?
We talk a lot.
What really turns the light on for me, right? Like, look, I can take 1,000 outside tests and something else can tell me what I am, but who really knows what I am?
You're so right.
I know who I am. I know what I am, and I know that if I'm honest with myself, I don't need a test. I don't need a personality profile. I don't need an AI chatbot to tell me that I'm this way and that way, because I know me.
You're so
And we
right.
all know ourselves. And the reality is if you can just be honest with yourself about what really turns it on for you, then that right there is where you should hit
the
gas.
stillness.
I'm gonna
Be
make
still
you
and
tell
know.
my husband the next time he makes me try to take another personality
I'm
test.
happy to. I think he's right here. Look, the thing is that you can, there's two types of worlds, right? There's a world where we seek outside of ourselves for solutions.
Okay.
And that's great, right? That's a very Newtonian, I have to kick in the door in order for me to get through it. And then there's another world that I live in.
Yeah.
And it's a different world. It's more subtle.
Yeah.
It's more intuitive. But I believe it's even realer than the one that we find outside, that we seek outside, and because the truth is that even this chair isn't what we think it is. Everything that we see out here isn't really what we think it is or what we can perceive it to be. And because all of that is so illusory, well then what is real? Well, that's in you. Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah.
Being still for an ADHD person is really hard. So being still is actually really where I do find myself. And I really don't give myself enough of that. And I think that's something I will take from this. So thank you.
Of course. Happy to share it.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
I appreciate hearing it too. Just again, military background. So when you talk about breaking down a door to get something, that's literally how
That's how you live.
That's how I lived for many
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
And so,
But wouldn't the door to break down, the most important one, be the one that's keeping you from knowing you?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I just, when you said that, I was like, oof.
Yeah, we
that
can go
hurts.
from there.
That hurts.
It
It's a
shouldn't.
little-
It
it's a
shouldn't.
little too close to home.
It should excite you. It should excite you because you got a whole universe to explore in there.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I love traveling to different cities, but man, what's really fun for me is traveling to different parts of my psyche. And like traveling to different parts of myself and like exploring there, because it's much better than a new bridge.
So I got one more question for you. You know how you're so I watched the podcast where you did the wholesaling direct to seller. All right. So we've been debating whether direct to seller or select agent.
Oh, I already know what you're going to answer.
I know, but you never know. So I am a realtor in Key West. I have been for about 8 years. So I'm used to I obviously don't call myself. I would call an agent. I would call the seller, right? Or an owner. Mm-hmm. What do you see? I'm so excited to see. I know that you have paired up with the gentleman. Is it Minnesota?
Yeah, Ben Power.
Yes, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, my boys out in Minnesota. I'm investing in a direct to seller campaign.
I'm like, I was thinking, well,
it's totally opposite of what I've.
Yeah. I know.
But I want to dispel a myth, right?
Yes.
I think the thing is, people thought I was like, if you're this way, you can't do that, right? I wasn't ever anti direct to seller. The reason why I was such a big advocate and why I am still a big advocate for the agent model is because it's relationship based. And I think that at the basis of it, before we go out and start spending money, before we start draining our bank account of resources, let's start building relationships.
Trust.
Right? Let's start building relationships. Let's learn the business. Let's figure out, because I'll tell you what, I'm investing in this direct to seller campaign. I still haven't made a dime yet. I'm 30,000 in the hole. I can afford to be 30,000 in the hole.
Can't be.
A lot of people can't. So that's just real.
Yeah.
I'm 30 grand in the hole. I haven't had a single contract yet. So that right there is the truth. You want to know what does pay me every month? My relationship with Monique Walker.
I know.
Every single month.
I'm glad we talked about this.
I could have a career where I would make at least $500,000 a year if I only answered her calls.
That's
her call.
Wow.
Not other agents, just
Monique.
her calls.
So can we get Monique on this channel?
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's do that.
She would love to be on your
I love
podcast.
it.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the final question.
I do.
All right, Jamil, we ask this, or do you want to ask it? Do you want me to ask it?
You can ask it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Jamil, we ask this to every single person on the show.
Okay.
What does it mean to you to be an REI Baddie?
Okay. Well, what does it mean to me to be an REI Baddie? I think it's someone that is resilient, someone that will be a gift to the industry, to their families, to their community, and above all else, try to solve as many problems as possible in the process of making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so I think that's the most badass thing you can do. I think that you can help somebody and make $1 million at the same time. God bless you.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You're a
talking about.
badass.
Yeah. That's how I roll.
I appreciate that, truly. Being in places where, being in places not as fortunate as America has really taught me to appreciate how much opportunity we have in the United States
Absolutely.
to do just exactly what you're talking about.
Amen.
And it is a little bit of our part. We depend a lot on the government and on other people to make a difference, and we don't need to. We can do it ourselves. And I think that's
it's funny. I learned yesterday the Latin base of the word government. You know what it is? You know what the Latin basis is? So govern is control. Ment is mind.
Oh my gosh.
Control the mind.
Did you know that?
I do now.
It is literally in your face. The truth is underneath your nose. Listen, I love this country.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not letting anything control my mind.
Never mind.
I think that if you really, really look at what in Canada, Europe, the United States, it is breeding people to just be okay with being okay.
No.
That's for the most part what is happening to 99% of the population.
I agree.
I think what you guys are doing here is what America really stands for, which is the liberation of mind, liberation of self, liberation of finances, liberation of occupation. And that to me is awesome. That's America.
Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity and spending it with us today.
Absolutely. I would just like to end with, for anybody who's watching that's not following Jamil already, you absolutely need to be following him on all of your socials, because this is just a fraction of what you'll get from it. And again, thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate being honored with the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Later.
Stay batty.